Dick Vitale. Who's that, you ask? An incredible college basketball analyst. That's who. Apparently, he clapped back at Jay Williams for criticizing Caitlin Clark. Wow, talk about an interesting take from Dick Vitale. This is Sports Guy Talking that you guys are watching and listening to. I am Dustin Tran, your host, as I am here today to talk about Dick Vitale responding to claims that Jay Williams made about Caitlin Clark not being able to be in GOAT conversations due to not winning a championship. However, this take from Jay Williams is considered to be flawed logic since Caitlin Clark has increased the interest of women's college basketball around the country. Dick Vitale heard those comments from Jay Williams and decided to defend Caitlin Clark's true greatness at the collegiate level. Before I say anything else though, I want to present you guys with the topic question. So here it is. Was Dick Vitale correct in his assessment of Caitlin Clark? Absolutely. I'm glad that a real analyst was able to determine the greatness of Caitlin Clark. Too many of these analysts these days give clown takes and try to give out hot takes where they could get more attention on social media, but Dick Vitale is actually one of the good guys when it comes to working as a college basketball analyst. This guy doesn't give out hot takes, and he certainly knows his stuff pretty well. I like what Dick Vitale had to say about Jay Williams and Caitlin Clark. I like that he was able to fairly assess Caitlin Clark's greatness, because it's pretty clear that Caitlin Clark has been an all-time great player at the collegiate level for women's sports. She has been able to make the women's basketball games rather interesting. That's not something I thought I would have ever said, but watching Caitlin Clark play, wow, she is a special player, and she's able to shoot it from anywhere on the court. She reminds me of female Steph Curry. That's how great she is as a basketball player. She's a great passer. She can shoot the basketball from anywhere on the court. She can shoot from 40 feet out. She can shoot in pick and roll. She can shoot in any kind of defensive coverage whatsoever. She is great at her role, and she has made the game of basketball that much more transcendent for women's sports. And Caitlin Clark is an athlete that more people have to, quite frankly, revere. Usually I say that you have to win a ring in order to be an all-time great, but not in the case of Caitlin Clark. Why do I say that? Because Caitlin Clark was able to get more people interested in women's sports. How many women athletes can actually get people interested in women's sports? Not that many, but Caitlin Clark was one of the rare people that was able to get people interested in women's sports, and obviously I can understand why. It's because she can shoot the three-point ball from anywhere on the court. She shows incredible range. She's a great teammate, and she's a great leader. She's not one of those woke women that promotes leftist agendas and tries to scream victim of, oh, I'm a woman, so that means I must be paid the same amount as men. No, she's not one of those people. She's actually one of those people that understands that, hey, I'm an actual woman, and let's be proud to be real women, and let's put out a great product for the fans. And obviously Caitlin Clark has rewarded people's play by being able to be a great basketball player. She can pass the ball better than anybody else at the women's level. She can shoot the basketball better than anybody else at the collegiate level. And obviously for Jay Williams to call her out, I did not agree with what Jay Williams said. I'm not saying Jay Williams was completely wrong, but I think that Jay Williams used a lot of flawed logic in his statement. Before I say anything else though about Jay Williams, I want to show you guys this clip of what Jay Williams was talking about for Caitlin Clark, just so we get the whole context. Roll the film.
I hear people talk about GOATs, right? For me, like, okay, I'm like, okay, you want to be a GOAT? Like, fine. Like, there's levels of greatness. You got to win championships to be GOATs. So when people want to don her as the greatest of all, I'm like, let's slow down. I've seen Donna Taurasi. I've seen Breanna Stewart. And you can sit there and tell me all day long, well, she's played with other great players. Okay, great. Championships. That's how we measure greatness overall.
Look, I'm not saying Jay Williams was 100% wrong. He actually brought up some solid points. Yes, you do need championships to be in GOAT conversations. Usually that's the case, because what is the game of basketball supposed to be about? It's about winning the games that you're supposed to be playing. But also, I think Jay Williams forgot that not only do you have to win, you also have to be a likable figure, or at least a transcendent figure, where you're going to get people interested in your sport. And obviously, Caitlin Clark has done that job pretty effectively. Yeah, I know she never won a championship at Iowa, but who knows? Maybe she changes that narrative this year. But you guys also have to remember that March Madness makes it that much harder for teams to win national championships, because anybody can get upset at any time. That's why they call it March Madness, because that is the tournament of upsets. And obviously Caitlin Clark has never been on the right side in terms of coming out victorious in those brackets. And that's not to diminish Caitlin Clark, but that's just the reality of the situation surrounding Caitlin Clark. Look, Caitlin Clark can shoot the basketball like no other. She can transcend the game. She's a likable figure. You obviously got a lot of guys talking about Caitlin Clark Clark's skills. So obviously that means she's a really great basketball player, and most importantly, she's a likable figure, something that we can't say about a lot of basketball players in general. And no, it's not just women that are unlikable, it's men that are also unlikable too. You look at a lot of NBA players, there's a reason why a lot of casual NBA fans hate the average NBA player. It has nothing to do with their skill set, it has everything to do with their attitude. You got people crying, oh my god, I have to play all 82 games, or I have to actually show up to practice and play the games in order to earn my money. Or in the case of women's sports, you got them crying, oh, why can't I make the money that an NBA player is making, even though that league should be ceasing to exist since the profits that they have been receiving are in the negatives. Clearly, the WNBA is a dump dive where you don't make a lot of money whatsoever, and they're not generating any revenue whatsoever. So obviously, these WNBA players are not going to get paid on the same level as an NBA player. So obviously, we've got a lot of crybabies. And look, America doesn't surround themselves with victims. We don't rally around victims. We rally behind hard workers and survivors. And Caitlin Clark is a hard worker that never complains. She's had every right to complain about not getting enough media coverage, or I'm not a great enough basketball player, but she hasn't done that. She's actually worked her tail off, and she's been a great basketball player because she can do everything at a high level for women's sports. It's been really incredible to see what she has done. And obviously, a college basketball analyst in Dick Vitale addressed that on Twitter as he said, quote, recently there has been a debate about being the GOAT as it related to at Caitlin Clark 22. Look, I respect the views of others, but I do not think it is fair to eliminate someone that doesn't win a championship. Championships are won by strong, talented teams. I always felt that Wilt Chamberlain and many others don't get a fair shake. He didn't play with a Hall of Fame roster a la the Celtics, and obviously Dick Vitale knows his basketball pretty well. I'm kind of surprised he went the old head route, but I'm glad that he did, because obviously Wilt Chamberlain was an all-time great basketball player. He obviously scored 100 points in the game, so that means he is a great basketball player, but because he only won 2 championships, oh, we have to remove him from the GOAT conversation. You know how stupid that is? Obviously, rings matter a lot. I'm not saying that rings don't matter at all. I've actually been a pretty strong proponent of rings needing to count more than anything else, but I also think that there are other factors that surround the term GOAT. I think that you have to be a marketable superstar in basketball in order to be in the GOAT conversation. So you have to win, you have to be a marketable star, you have to be a somewhat likable figure where casual fans would actually care to talk about you, and not only care to talk about you, but to actually watch your games. And obviously, Caitlin Clark has done almost everything right. The only thing she hasn't done right is win a championship yet. But obviously, like Dick Vitale said, she doesn't have a great team around her. And obviously, this is March Madness as well. This is not the NBA playoffs where they play a best of 7 series and the winner advances to the next round in terms of best of 7. They get to play a single elimination game. You guys realize how hard it is to win a national championship at the collegiate level because of the fact that it is a single elimination game and that upsets can happen at any given time? Yeah, obviously, Jay Williams should have taken that into consideration. And I saw that he listed some other WNBA players in there in terms of the conversation for greatest college basketball players ever, but those people didn't transcend the sport the way that Caitlin Clark did. Those people didn't get casual fans to talk about women's college basketball. Caitlin Clark is, though. And obviously, when Caitlin Clark is doing that, you got to give Caitlin Clark a lot of respect for getting those people interested in women's sports, because this is not something that happens every day. This is a rarity, and right now we're witnessing history with Caitlin Clark. There's a reason why she scored more points than any other player in women's college basketball history. That's because she is an excellent scorer. She can score the basketball. She can pass the basketball really effectively. She's a great leader. She's likable. There's nothing to dislike about Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark is your typical hardworking American person that just goes out there and puts in the work each and every day. She never complains about the conditions. She never complained that she didn't get enough coverage early on in her career. And what happened? She let the play do the talking, and now look at her. Now she's an incredible superstar. And for Jay Williams to criticize her the way they did, I'm not saying that Jay Williams was 100% wrong and that he didn't have some solid points, but he used flawed logic in order to come to his conclusions. And obviously, Dick Vitale made a lot of great points when talking about Caitlin Clark, because if championships were the only thing that matters, then how come Bill Russell isn't in the GOAT conversation? Bill Russell has 11 rings, right? But obviously, nobody's going to say that Bill Russell should be in the GOAT conversation, because it's clear that Bill Russell didn't transcend the game the way that Michael Jordan did, the way that Kobe Bryant did, and he didn't even transcend the game the way LeBron James did. And I know that I've always said that MJ is better than LeBron James all the time. I still stand by that because of the championships, but also because of the fact that MJ made the league more marketable compared to LeBron James. And obviously, when you look at Caitlin Clark, being marketable is one of her greatest strengths, and that's exactly what she did, because she made people care about women's college basketball. Obviously, you've never seen me really comment too much about it, and for me to comment about it, that means I obviously care about this topic a lot, and I'm glad glad that Caitlin Clark has been able to prove her doubters wrong because she has been a phenomenal basketball player. I can't rave about her enough. So that is why Dick Vitale was correct in his assessment of Caitlin Clark, as she has elevated the interest of women's college basketball for most sports fans. Remember, go ahead and subscribe to Sports Guy Talking, like the video, and please comment down below. If you guys do that, I may shout you guys out in my Instagram story every Monday. That'll be for the @Dustin Tran Instagram account. Make sure to follow me on Instagram @Dustin Tran and that Sports Guy Talking. Also, go follow me on Twitter @Dustin Tran. Again, go ahead and do those things that I just told you guys to go do. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed the content that was just produced. Peace out. I hope you enjoyed that video. Want more Sports Guy Talking, the home of great sports content? Make sure you click that subscribe button to get the latest from Sports Guy Talking. Go ahead and like the video, comment down below, check the description box on the video in order to follow my Instagram and Twitter. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from the YouTube channel Sports Guy Talking.